Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review the real estate market analysis for Santa Clara County, California for December of 2009. My name is Robert Whitelaw. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of California. I'm also a member of the National Association of Realtors and a certified ePro. I'm also the president and CEO of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services, sponsoring this presentation. Now let's go ahead and get into the ways to get in contact with me. Probably the best way is to access my website at www.soldbyrobert.com. You'll find all kinds of methods of getting in touch with me. A lot of them I'll include here in this particular slide. But you'll also get access to what I consider to be the best multiple listing service search tool that you can find for the area from San Francisco all the way down to Monterey, California. It's map-based, very easy to read, easy to zoom in, zoom out, and see what areas you're interested in without having to know where one city ends and another begins. You can just focus on the areas that you're interested in, and I think that's a good help. You can also find articles I've written on real estate. You can find my weekly podcast called Real Estate Realities with the Rebel Broker, which you can also find on iTunes, and you can also find a player to view the rest of these videos. If you'd like to contact me directly via email, just send those to robert@soldbyrobert.com. If you'd prefer to call me directly, just dial 408-852-0525. If you'd rather use some of the online instant messaging software like AOL Instant Messenger, Google Talk, or Yahoo IM, the screen name for those is the Rebel Broker. My Skype account name is Rebel Broker, and of course referrals are always appreciated. If you or anyone you know is interested in buying or selling real estate in the Silicon Valley area, please feel free to get in contact with me. I'd be happy to help you in any way I can. But even if you're not interested in buying real estate in the area that I directly work in, I can help you find the right agent for you wherever you are in the United States. Just give me a call, let me know what you're looking for, and I will find the right agent to help you reach your real estate goals. Now let's go ahead and jump into the supply and demand numbers for Santa Clara County for December of 2009. We'll start off with those inventory numbers. You can see we've had a pretty good recovery here in Santa Clara County in 2009. This was really our turnaround year for inventory numbers. You can see that we really dropped down to levels really kind of on par with 2006, still a little bit higher. But we've had a steady increase from 2004 all the way to 2008. And now we finally have seen a drop. Now inventory is actually down 43.21%. That is a decrease of 2,005 homes, so 2,005 fewer homes on the market in December of 2009 at the same time in 2008. That gave us a grand total of 2,635 homes in the inventory in December of 2009. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the new listings. These are the homes that were added to the market. You can see we've had a little fluctuation over the years in the month of December. Remember, this is just the month of December going all the way back to 1999. And look at 1999 where inventory numbers were. That's just crazy. But not a bad place to be, I suppose, if you want to have not a whole lot of houses out there. So in 2009, we saw a decrease from 2008. That was actually down 15.75%. That was 167 fewer homes listed in the month of December in 2009 than in 2008. Grand total of 893 homes listed in December. As far as sales are concerned, also headed in the right direction, steadily increasing since 2007. Between 2008 and 2009, sales increased 38.55%. That's 261 more homes sold in December of 2009 at the same time last year, for a number increase of 261. Total number of homes sold 938. Really encouraging numbers. We're wrapping up 2009 with some pretty encouraging statistics. Now, if we take a look at the ratio of inventory, homes total in inventory, and the sales, we get a ratio of 2.8. That gives us two ways of looking at the market. In a sales aspect, you would think of it as how long it takes to get every home in inventory sold if the numbers froze as they are right now. And you can see the contrast between last year and this year. Last year, that number was very large, meaning we had months and months and months of inventory on hand. This year, it stands at 2.8, so we have just under 3 months worth of inventory. And that's actually a pretty healthy place to be. Now, there's definitely not universal performance all through Santa Clara County. There are definitely some communities that are not experiencing this kind of performance. You can look at some of my other local presentations on the markets for cities like Morgan Hill, Almaden Valley, Los Gatos, and see that while this is what's going on in the county in general, there are some communities that are definitely not performing at the average. Now, last month's was at 3.31, so we've actually seen an improvement in these numbers. Now, we usually see a decrease in inventory at this time of year It's just sort of the way it goes. But remember, this is just the month of December. So last year at the exact same time, we had that inventory, and this year we have this much lower number. So we're seeing a very encouraging trend in Santa Clara County, and we'll just have to see if this continues on in 2010. Now let's look at the same numbers, just going back to straight to June of '08. We're not just looking at the month of December anymore. And chronologically, you can see we have a little variation here in inventory, but the trend is pretty unmistakable. That inventory is dramatically going down. Really, we peaked in March of '09, which sort of makes sense, and that falls in with a very typical trend. We usually see things peaking right up until July, right until we get into those summer months where sales happen. But we just kept going. The inventory just kept declining. All good news for Santa Clara County. Now, as far as the comparison from November to December, we actually had the inventory drop by 12.35%. Inventory went down by 11.58%, 345 fewer homes. And we can see that the number of homes added has also declined in the last 2 months. Again, that's fairly normal for the winter months. You can see the same thing happened last year. You usually see a drop off in the number of homes that get added to the marketplace in November and December as we're going through the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Sellers, and that's actually a good sign too. You can see that it was more of a dramatic drop last year than this year. I suspect that means that what we're seeing here is a situation where many folks simply don't have the choice. They have to leave their homes on the market. Last year, maybe a few more people had the choice of whether or not they left their homes on the market, so they went ahead and took or put their homes on the market. So they didn't put their homes on the market in the kind of numbers that they did this year in comparison to previous months. As far as the listings are concerned, that number is also down 16.46%. That's 176 fewer homes listed in December than in November. And as far as sales are concerned, the trend lines are all heading in the right direction. You want to see those inventory and listing numbers going down. You want to see those sales numbers going up, and that's exactly what we're seeing in general for the county. You can see we had an increase of 12.35%. That's 111 more homes sold in December than in November. All good things, all good numbers. It's interesting how flat this performance is. We did peak at the typical time in June and July, but really relatively flat performance all the way from August all the way through to December, where you usually see a little bit more of a marked decline in the December and November timeframes. A little bit less so this year, so we really sort of extended our sales period here in Santa Clara County, and we saw a little bit more robust sales going on than we have in past markets at this time of year. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the ratio of short sales and foreclosures to conventional sales. This month we had 19% of the homes that sold were short sale properties, 25% were foreclosures, 56% were conventional. I'm encouraged to just consistently see the number of homes that are selling conventionally being over half of those in the marketplace. We did have time periods when the short sales and foreclosures were dominating the market quite a bit more than this. And I like to see that we're getting some more conventional sales. I think that's a good thing. Now, last month, what did we see? 18% of the properties that sold were short sales, 20% were foreclosures, and 61% were conventional sales. Right, still also in the same relative ballpark, a slight increase in foreclosures, a slight increase in short sales. And I think that the time of year really is indicative of that. A lot of folks don't shop in the winter months as well. It's not just a seller dynamic where they don't put their houses on the market. There's also a buyer dynamic where they don't tend to shop. The folks who tend to continue to shop in those months are the ones looking to take more of the deals, and I think those folks are tending to gravitate a little bit more towards short sales and foreclosures, which I think can explain the uptick in those particular numbers. All right, now let's talk about home prices. This is clearly an area everyone's interested in, regardless of whether you're buying or selling. And again, these are home prices going back just for the month of December, going back to 1999. Now, let's see here. Now, the change from last year, it's up 7.06%. That's a $46,438 increase in the average price of a home in Santa Clara County. So does that mean for those of you trying to sell your properties, you should be increasing your asking price by 7.06%? No. I think if you really look at the market, what's becoming clear is less that property values are increasing and more that we are simply seeing a more spread out marketplace. In other words, we're seeing a little bit more activity at the high end. So I don't believe that this reflects a real market dynamic here in Santa Clara County where people should be thinking they should increase the asking price of their properties. Now, of course, that all comes down to micro markets. It's from town to town, neighborhood to neighborhood. These numbers are going to be different, so you need to talk to a professional in your area. But in general, I think it's a safe bet to say that this really just tells you more about where people are buying or what levels people are buying, as opposed to there being a general increase in the real average price of homes. Now, the highest priced home in Santa Clara County was in Palo Alto. It was on 1030 Hamilton Avenue. It sold for $4,830,000. It had originally listed for $7,950,000. So, as I just discussed, you can see there's activity at that high end when someone's paying just shy of $5 million for a home. And that's a pretty substantial discount, a $2 million discount from the original list price. Now, some interesting other information. That home was on the market for 301 days. It sold in 2007 for $3 million, actually $3,050,000. And it was rebuilt in 2009. So that is a home that had been completely redone from the ground up. I'm betting those folks got their money out of it, despite the differences here in what they were originally asking, what they sold it for. Now, the lowest priced home was in San Jose. It was at 428 Washington Street. It sold for $185,000. Its original list price was $259,594, and it was on the market for 395 days, and it sold as a real estate owned property. It was a foreclosed property. It was first listed in 2008. In June, just at the end of June, right into July. It listed originally for $498,000. So, and here's another interesting note. This is very common. So when you look at statistics that have been put together for the county or for the state, they're going to go off the number I just told you before, which was that it originally was listed for $259,594, when in reality it was originally listed for $498,000. Now, that's a pretty huge difference. So when you start seeing statistical data about how much below asking price people have been forced to take, that's going to be an artificially low number when you look at it reported by the state or other reporting agencies. The reality is that that number is actually quite a bit higher because of the practice of relisting, which allows realtors to sort of disconnect previous sales data or attempts to sell data with a new listing, even though maybe only a day has transpired. And for most of these, it was less than a month between when it was listed and then it was taken off the market and then relisted. And again, that was a real estate-owned property. What else have we got? Anything else? No, we already covered what the change was from last year to this year. Let's go ahead and move on to the recent months data, and we can see what the trend is here. Let me go back because I hit the button too many times. All right, so the trend here is pretty hard to miss. Now, we get such a volume of sales here in Santa Clara County that these are pretty true numbers. There aren't things that are really going to skew it up or down. Home prices have really sort of wavered a little bit. We've seen them really bottom out in January or February of this year, of 2009. They peaked out a little bit here in July and then sort of continued on. And we saw another peak in November with a little bit of a dip here. And the down dip between November and December was 5.94%. That's a decrease of $44,461. Where is this going to go? We'll have to see. I'm very concerned. If you haven't listened to my podcast, you might want to start doing that. We talk fairly regularly about this foreclosure situation and how numbers are changing there. And with every passing week, it becomes more clear that we have a very big foreclosure challenge looming over the horizon that's going to have an effect on this. And I think we're going to potentially see inventory numbers going up. We're going to see these sorts of average home prices going down as people are reignited in the foreclosure market by getting those lower prices. And also we have the buyer's tax credit, which has been extended to, let's see, what is it, April. And I think that we talk about this on the podcast, but I don't think that creates buyers. Nobody is sitting on a couch hearing about this buyer's tax credit thinking, oh, wow, I'll get $8,000 tax credit on a house if I buy one. I'm going to run out and buy one right now. No, that's not the kind of folks it's attracting. All it's doing is attracting folks who have been thinking about buying, who maybe were starting to save for buying because they wanted to take advantage of some of these lower prices, who were thinking, I'll buy in 6 months, I'll buy in a year, I'll buy in 18 months when I've saved up more money. All it's doing is accelerating the purchase decision for some of those folks. So what are we doing? We are stealing buyers from the future. We are not creating new buyers with this. And the problem is we're seeing this phenomenon occurring right when we're on the precipice of seeing a lot more foreclosure properties added to the market. So what we'll do is we'll steal the buyers from the future, but we are levying the future with a whole bunch of foreclosures, so we won't have enough buyers when they finally come on the market. Who knows? Maybe the prices will go down low enough it'll encourage more buyers, but who knows what the lag time will be. We had a big lag time last time when we had foreclosures come on the market. I think that since people are a little bit more knowledgeable at what goes on with foreclosures, we might not see that lag time between when they arrive and when they start selling. But I don't think there's any question that over the next year we're going to have to see a whole lot more foreclosures on the marketplace. There's too many banks holding back properties. There's too many foreclosure properties in the pipeline of foreclosure. It's a potentially scary equation when you look at all the details. Okay, now from home price, we go to days on market. We can see that the average days on market is down from the same time last year. It's down 28.26%, so it's taking 26 fewer days to get a home sold in December of 2009 than in December of 2008. If we look at those numbers just going back now to June of 2008, we can see what the trend is. We can see we sort of had things peak out a little bit again at the new year of 09 with a steady decline as more and more homes started to sell. And things have been relatively flat since September. From November to December, we had a decrease of 1.49%, which really only adds up to a one-day difference. So really not a whole lot of a change. Things are sort of flattening out. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we have finally sold off a whole lot of the inventory. For some of those months where you saw, or if you look back just at these numbers, where you see some peaks, where you see some points where they jump a little bit, I think that those are months when we saw increases in sales that really dug deeper into the inventory, when inventory was really being reduced. And as a result of that, we were getting rid of properties that had been on the market for an extremely long time. And you can see back that when we peaked in days, that was also when we first started to see these sales numbers really start to increase, so a decrease in inventory. So whenever you see inventory decreasing, you're likely to see a phenomenon like this, where you'll see a peak in days on market, because again, you're reaching deeper into the inventory and taking some of these properties that have been on the market forever finally off the table. Now let's take a look at how to get in touch with me one more time. I'm not going to read all these off. I'm just going to put them here so that you can jot them down if you'd like to get in contact with me. Now, I do appreciate you taking the time out to listen to these presentations. I hope this is valuable information that will help you come to some good conclusions about what you should or shouldn't do in the world of real estate relating to Santa Clara County. And of course, if you'd like to get any specific questions answered about a property you have in the area, I'm happy to help you answer those with a market analysis or any other info you might need. Thanks for checking in, and I look forward to talking to you all next time.